What is up, anglers? It is California fishing news for May 28th, 2020. I know it's been about 2 months since the last one. Everybody knows COVID, pandemic, life's been a little bit crazy for everyone, myself included. But I'm back on track now. I'm in a place where I should be able to produce consistent content for you guys, for myself, and just get back in the habit of doing this because, it's a passion project. I like it. I have fun with it. So, welcome back to California Fishing News. This is on YouTube. It's on all their podcast apps. There's also a website, californiafishingnews.com. Check it all out. Subscribe and tell your friends. Thank you very much. Let's get into it. Good amount of stuff to talk about today. We'll talk about the surf fishing. There's good surf fishing for Northern California and Southern California. The BIG Bluefin obviously being caught. They've been all over social media. Early yellowfin tuna being caught as well. Yellowtail, both at the islands and on paddies. We got some big white sea bass being caught. NorCal, they're king salmon season, as well as they're doing really halibut fishing. The Eastern Sierra trout's opening back up. So a lot to get into, but first we get to talk about my favorite topic, of course, which is me and my fishing. So I've been surf fishing a lot the past couple weeks. It all started because one of the first days I went, I caught this 4-pound spot fin. And it was awesome. I haven't caught a big, nice fish out of the surf in a while. So that got me the bug going again for me. So I've been going back to mainly the same beach. I've been fishing Oceanside. And it's been pretty good. I've been catching fish pretty much every day. A lot of small perch, a lot of small corbina, a couple corbina up to 18 inches have been the big ones. 1 or 2 yellowfin croakers, not a ton. But it's been good fishing. And it was last Wednesday I had to get apart at West Marine for my little, I got a 10-foot skiff. But for my little boat, I had to get apart. So I'm at West Marine and I brought my rod. So I go down to the beach, same spot basically, right? In Oceanside and Carlsbad meet. Park in Carlsbad side and walk to Oceanside, mainly because Oceanside is the only town in North County there surf fishing is officially allowed. Carlsbad hasn't been enforcing it, but anyway, so I'm just on the very southern tip of Oceanside, fishing a sand crab, like I've been fishing the past 2 weeks. The sand crabs haven't been really easy to find, but they are there and they're big and they've got rows. So I've been fishing just big sand crabs singly. So I'm fishing, there's 2 other anglers coming down next to me and I get a bite, set the hook, and this thing just takes off. And obviously this is not a normal fish. Most fish you hook in the surf, you feel them shake their head or something, little perch, little corbina, but they don't really peel drag. And this guy just took off. And he took me down really up the beach north about at least 50 to 60 yards, probably a couple hundred feet. It's high tide, the water's crazy, splashing on my chest. I didn't want to get my hopes up because a lot of times these big fish are shovelnose sharks or rays or literally... Most of the time you hook a big fish, it's not a desirable fish, honestly. But I still had dreams of it being a big spot fin or something. And I'm on this thing forever. I have 4-pound test, leader, there's seaweed on my line, and at one point I think I might never even get to see this thing. This thing might just break my line any second. Luckily, I just was real patient and got it up, and finally I glimpse in the water. It's got stripes running down its back, and I go, holy crap, it's a striper. It takes me a couple more minutes to get up on the beach, but eventually I land my first West Coast striper. They're super rare here in San Diego, so I was just super pumped. It was awesome. It was 23 inches, 5 pounds. The hook broke as I took the hook out of its mouth. They use these little tiny size 6 owner mosquito hooks. But it was really awesome. So I've heard the rumors, people talk about stripers. I've seen photos Pacific Coast of, San Diego County stripers, but it really is really rare. I'm super, super lucky to catch one, and I was very stoked. So that's it. That's my big story for the last couple of weeks. I also fished the bay one day and caught a whole bunch of short halibut and a whole bunch of spotties. That was really fun. But besides that, basically just been surf fishing for me the past 2 weeks. That'll be changing now. I'm going to fish the bay again, San Diego Bay that is, this weekend once or twice maybe. Once on my boat, and my buddy just got a boat as well. So excited for that. Other notable catches, it's been a while, but I just want to talk about a few catches. If you don't know who Chip Gilbert is, if you're in San Diego and you fish the lakes, you probably do. He's been the main voice of anglers in this COVID pandemic trying to get the lakes back open. And finally, the 3 of them are open, 6 of them are still closed. That's a whole nother story, really. But he did catch this thing. It was 11 pounds, 9 ounces, largemouth on a big rat bait. So congrats to Johnny Rat, it's called. Congrats to Chip. If there's any karma in this world, you've been working hard to get the lakes opened, and you were rewarded with a big honkin' post-spawn largemouth. Another notable catch the past few weeks, you guys probably saw this going around on social media, but this guy got an 80-pound white sea bass on his kayak out of Dana Point. Pretty insane. It was his first ever legal white sea bass. There's a story about it on Western Outdoor News, so you can check that out there. And then another notable story, I was going to talk about this at the end of freshwater, but let's just put it in here because it fits. Two more actually. First, this one probably doesn't matter to most people, but because I live so close to Lake Wolford and I grew up fishing it, this kid caught a 40-pound blue catfish out of Lake Wolford. Thing's just a monster, really awesome. I've just fished that lake my whole life, and I've never seen anything remotely close to that come out of that lake. So it may not be a big deal to most of you, but pretty awesome photo of this guy, and it was released, so there's more in there. He also said he hooked another one just this big that ended up breaking off the same day, so there could be a number of big monsters in there. And then the last notable catch, this guy caught a 25-pound rainbow trout. There's a whole article about this on Western Outdoor News as well. It's at the diversion pool below Lake Oroville. Apparently you have to hike down. It's poison oaky, and there's a rope at one point. You have to use the rope to go down the slope. It's a gnarly place to fish, but it does have these giants there. And look at this 25-pound rainbow trout. Holy crap! Go to go to Western Outdoor News, WONEWS.com. You can check out the story there to read more. All right, let's get back into all of the stories. We're going to start with surf fishing this week. There's been we can basically look at surf fishing and break it up into Northern California and Southern California. Southern California, it's been pretty much summertime. We've got corbina running in the shallows. The red tide's pretty much gone everywhere. Lots of barred surf perch, lots of yellowfin croakers being caught. A lot of big spotfin I've seen recently, which is sweet. Apparently they're spawning in some places, and one guy posted a report where he said it was just perfect conditions, and you could see them going up and chasing sand crabs with the corbina working together, and it sounds awesome. But those big spotfin are a lot of fun. They're one of the only other fish that are, you can get 3, 4, 5 pounders out of the surf, and it's just a ton of fun in the light gear. So, also playing halibut, it was a grenning run over the weekend, and I caught a short halibut. I saw that people catch short halibut out of the surf. Some guys getting legals out of the surf. The halibut are being picked away. Seems like pretty much everywhere. They're kind of spawning right now, I guess. So it's been good fishing for them in the bays, any of the lagoons, or the surf, wherever you can get them. It sounds like a good time to go halibut fishing. For Northern California, the surf fishing's been all about stripers. If you follow anybody that fishes Central Coast on social media, you've seen a bunch of these stripers being caught. A lot of the schoolies, the 18 to 22 inch fish, but I have seen a couple 30 inches posted as well. So a great time. Oh, he just photoed the big spot fin. Again, if you're just listening to this is on YouTube, and I go over some photos and show some stuff. So it's worth checking out on YouTube if you're just listening, but I regress. So someone did make an interesting post today in one of the surf fishing groups on Facebook. There's 2 really big ones I like, West Coast Surf Fishing and California Surf Anglers. But there's a lot of new people seeing the stripers being caught in Monterey, and they're going to surf fish for the first time. And you just got to really be careful, especially in Northern California or anywhere. If you're wearing waders, you make sure you got a belt. If your waders fill up and you're not comfortable, you could drown in a second out there. Never turn your back on the water. Some of us take it for granted. I was raised just going to the beach and swimming around as a kid, so I'm very comfortable there. But for some people who have not spent that much time there, you always got to respect the ocean. No fish is worth, obviously, getting hurt or losing your life over. So be really careful if it's something you want to try. But great time to go. It's been seemingly centered around Monterey, but I'm not that familiar with the spots up there. I haven't really dug that deep into it, but Monterey County for sure, the stripers are biting. Boom, that's it for surf fishing. Go out. It's a great time to go. On to what most people care about a lot, pelagics, offshore, bluefin, yellowfin. First, I just want to mention this guy chasing pelagics on YouTube. He started this thing he's been doing for a month or so now. He does it weekly, and it's a SoCal fishing forecast where he takes a look at temp break and stuff. It's pretty cool. So check that out. Chasing pelagics on Instagram, on YouTube. It's similar to kind of what I'm doing here, but it's different. It's specific to offshore, and it's the forecast for the next week. He goes over wind and weather stuff a bit more, but it's worth checking out. So, again, if you follow people on Instagram, you've seen a lot of big bluefin being caught and a few yellowfin being caught. We can take a look at the temp break here. You can see it's been mainly happening right along this color break down south of the 425. The bluefin action's been centered kind of around the hidden bank, upper hidden bank. There's been reports way over here to the right along the color line. Yellowfin caught at the 425, and a lot of the kelp yellowtail have been caught off the 371. So there's this big circle down here where basically all this action's happening. It's been moving from lower hidden to upper hidden. I guess some moved out a little bit east over the weekend, but a lot of fish down here. Not that far from home. We're talking about 34 miles, 35 miles from Point Loma. And it's really clean water. Work that color break. And if we look at the temp, this is the 8-day composites. The temp up to 69 degree water in places. A lot of the bluefin has been yummy flyers or dead flying fish stuff. I have at least seen some that were caught on bait. One people said they weren't line shy and got them eating 60 and 80 pound test. These are like the 80-pound size bluefin. A lot of the bluefin have been 120 to 150, and then there are some bigger 200 plus pounders as well. I saw like I think a 280 a guy caught and posted a report, so that's pretty rad. The yellowfin, it's been one guy caught one on the troll and got another bite on the troll but lost it, and then I've heard of guys catching them while they're drifting a flyer for bluefin. Guys just fishing a sardine, and one guy caught 2 yellowfin, another guy caught 6, I believe, yesterday. So that's pretty cool. The yellowfin, it's only May, and they're starting to bite a little bit. There's been a lot of reports on the Bloody Decks offshore fishing reports forums with GPS coordinates, so it's pretty cool that everyone's working together, and that's how I got the intel about where all this is happening. I actually loaded up this image into my image manipulation program and was going to put dots for all the bites, and then my computer crashed without saving it, and it took a lot of time. So maybe next week we'll get back into that. But yeah, take our word. It's down here between the 425, upper hidden, lower hidden, inshore to that color break, and then up towards 371. Hopefully just, I don't know exactly what we need. Maybe a nice swell from the south that would push these guys right up. Because, like I said, they're only 30 miles from Point Loma. Those fish can move a lot in a day. So it wouldn't take much to get them to move up, 10, 20 miles and be a lot closer to home. So hopefully that happens soon. And the last thing for offshore, 2 more things I guess we'll talk about. There's been at least 1 sword caught. The Newport the Balboa Angling Cubs out in Newport, they posted a photo of 1 sword caught, and apparently there's been others seen. I think these were mainly being seen on the surface, not deep drop, but again, I don't have any first-hand intel on that. And then we got to talk about albacore briefly. There's been a rumor for albacore for months. Shout out to Coach, who always watches his videos, but he commented like months ago, like consistent rumors of albacore. 976 posted something about albacore, and one angler said he ran 100 miles, caught a couple. Apparently these are legit rumors, like maybe not rumors, they are confirmed, but they're small fish, mainly mixed in with bluefin, and there hasn't been any mass to them yet either. So, and the fact that we have 70-degree water already, and again, I'm not an expert, especially with albacore, but I mean, I think they like the colder water, that's why they get them off north a lot. I think 63-degree water or something. Anyways, it doesn't really make sense that we get a whole bunch of yellowfin in May and also have albacore, but who knows, we'll have to see what happens. Boom, that's it for the offshore. Moving on. Inshore and islands. Inshore, I mean, for weeks we had that red tide in Southern California, and that's finally cleared out. There was a report, this is Tuna Slam Corey on Bloody Decks, always post reports of going out bassing. He had a day they caught like 100 to 150 sand bass, decent bass in there. Out of La Jolla, a guy went out and had okay bassing, mainly small fish, and then got called into some barracudas on the radio. Apparently there's been barracudas and bonito working out like on the 9 Mile bank close to shore in the green water, working bait, and he said it was wide open from 26 to 30 inch barracuda on like the surface iron. So that's a lot of fun, even if you don't like taking them home. Big barracudas, they chomp anything and they fight really hard, so that can be a blast. Besides that, there's some decent rock fishing reports. The guys that are on the rockfish, they know what to go, they know what to do, and they're getting them, as you pretty much always can. And then there's a chance of white sea bass and yellowtail at any of the good kelp spots. I've heard of guys drifting at La Jolla looking for them, Point Loma. Not that I've heard a ton, but it's May, it's white sea bass season in the kelp. The divers are out looking for them. There's some being caught at Catalina we'll get to next for sure. So you never know. If you're out at La Jolla, it never hurts to put a Mac down and you'll catch a random white sea bass, yellowtail, maybe even halibut. Islands has been more exciting information mainly. You got a chance of yellowtail at the Coronados and at San Clemente and at Catalina. Catalina's been getting fished pretty hard, of course. It's easy access for all those LA folks. There's been some reports of nice yellows at Catalina, some people not finding them or not getting on them. And there's been multiple white sea bass caught at Catalina as well. I'll show a photo here that I accidentally just closed. But there's the Real Flyliner on Instagram. His name's Jonathan, a really good angler. And he posted one I thought was interesting this over the weekend. It's not actually his fish, it's someone else caught, but he said, my buddy Steven bore with a beautiful Catalina sea bass from this weekend. They had live squid, but got this fish on the sardine. Don't pass up the fin bait this time of year, folks. Super interesting. I'm not a good white sea bass fisherman. I've never really targeted them. I've never caught illegal. I'm not even sure I've caught a short. Anyways, but you hear about squid a lot for him and having nailed squid, but I talked to Wes once, who's one of the captain's one-man charters, and talked to him about squid, and he's like, look, dude, like, we got a majority of our fish on mackerel every year. You can always have fish mackerel, squid's not always available, and these fish eat whatever's around. So, I mean, obviously live squid's great, everything eats it, you'll catch white sea bass on it, but don't ignore it. Yeah, don't know where this one was caught. One guy did post another one, his first one he's been trying, caught on his 50th birthday. It was a pretty rad report. And he just said it was on the front side of the island. That's all he said, but it is a really nice 50-pound white sea bass too. There's a couple of reports of the Coronados of one yellow and other guys finding a bunch of bonito and a bunch of really good bass fishing, but no yellows. Not a ton of reports of people fishing San Clemente, but there definitely are at least some yellows there. I saw one got caught. Good bassing out there as well. So, the water's heating up. The fishing's been pretty good everywhere, but especially with the big bluefin, it's like you see a lot of those get posted, and the guys that are super dialed in maybe are getting them, but there's plenty of good fishermen going out there and not catching those big bluefin either. So don't feel bad if you go out once or twice and you can't make it happen, and you see people posting. Like, people don't post when they go 6 or 7 trips in a row without getting a bite. So don't let it get to your head. Keep putting in the time. Boom. And lastly, we'll talk about NorCal salts. Salmon season opened last month sometime, I believe, maybe this month. But it sounds like it's been okay up there. Opener is apparently really good for the guys, and then since then it's been hit or miss. Some days good, some days not so good. I bet the private boaters who are dialed, of course, are doing better than the party boats because they're limited. But if you look at the counts on NorCal Fish Reports for the party boats, there's some really good halibut fishing, probably in the bay. But the California Dawn out of Berkeley, 11 anglers on a full day at 25 halibut. Yesterday, a day or two ago, they had 15 anglers and caught 45 halibut, which I believe 3 is the limit up north. Yeah, it's 3 north of Point Conception. So full limits of halibut up to 18 pounds and random stripers. That same day, the El Dorado out of Berkeley had 10 anglers on a full day trolling for salmon. They caught 11 king salmon up to 14 pounds. So it sounds like the salmon fishing's been okay, up to 1 per angler, often less. And then the halibut fishing's been very good up in the Bay Area. So that's pretty cool. If you're up that way, really, really good eats to be caught. And then we'll talk about freshwater here. There's not a ton to say about Southern California. The end of trout season for all of our stocked reservoirs got taken away from us pretty much with the corona shit. So now we're on to the summer, which is bass fishing, crappie fishing, cat fishing, whatever you like, stripers at some of those lakes. I do want to mention, if you're from San Diego, like me, there is a petition you can sign. It's on change.org. I'll put a link of it in the description. But we still only have 3 of the 9 California or the San Diego City lakes open, and the city was saying they had to use a staff from other ones to open these, and they've been dragging their feet. And I mean, it's just kind of crazy. I know we don't want to talk about the fucking shit too much, pardon my language here, but right now you can go to downtown Encinitas or go to these towns and sit at a restaurant, go in a bar, be served by your server, but you cannot go sit on the beach and you cannot go surf fishing, and it is just absurd. Anyways, rant over. Some of these lakes are still closed, including Hodges, which would be the closest one to me. I'd love to go fish. So if you're in San Diego resident, you can sign this petition. You can email it. Apparently they are making strides in the right direction, and they're really trying to open these lakes. But it's been pretty frustrating because they opened up 3 of the 9 lakes in San Diego, so those are just getting hammered super hard with pressure. And yeah, it doesn't make sense the way they're opening things up, but I know everyone's doing this for the first time. In better news, Inyo and Mono County's trout opener, which was originally postponed until June 1st, they opened up a little early, I think on May 23rd. And the guys that are up there, I mean, they're still getting them. It's a weird time, though, because campgrounds are still closed, many of the public land ones, and hotels are limited, so it's like, I'm sure it's a double-edged sword. Originally, when this happened, they're like, look, we don't have very big hospitals, we can't support like the rush of people that this open normally brings. However, the other side of that is like that rush of people brings so much to their economy. Like, they live off of snow season and off of fishing season. Like, that's what Mammoth and that whole section of the Sierra is literally their economy runs off of. So without it, it hurts them pretty bad. And there's guides that should have been guiding for the last month and a half that haven't been guiding at all. So they are guiding starting next week. Of course, I talk about this guy just because I follow him and he always posts sweet photos. ripandlipsflyfishing.com or ripandlipsflyfishing on Instagram. But he's got dates for the opening week. He's going to be back on the boat at Crowley, I believe, next week, he said. And he's been fishing the river mainly. So whatever, check him out. Head up there, figure out. Apparently also there are some private campgrounds that are open, and those are hurting as much as anyone else. So do some research. I'm going to do some research too. Me and my lady would like to camp for a night this weekend, just get out of town. But we're not sure where, and we don't want to like piss people off by going somewhere if they don't want it. But at the same time, it's like, you need it. We're not bringing it, whatever. We're socially distant. We're camping. These outdoor things are the most socially distant anyways. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you for listening. If you could tell one friend you think would like about this, that would go a long way in helping me grow. Check us out Instagram, Facebook, social medias, all those things. Like, subscribe, and good luck out there. If you have any reports, you can send them to me on any of those avenues. And yeah, tight lines. Be back next week.